For today's Build in Public update, I'm going to talk about where I started on Monday morning and where I ended on Friday afternoon, and the journey of learning that occurred to me this week, and what I built this week. This week, I built my own inner confidence. I built inner resolve. I built stronger connections to my past and how they influence and impact my world every moment and even today in this moment. And so I'm just going to juxtapose the first conversation I had at Monday and who I was, and the last conversation I had just now and who I was to demonstrate this inner growth. So on Monday, I had a conversation with a woman from my OnDeck community. And I had this idea of doing some leadership workshops in there. And all weekend, I was kind of visualizing this, but I had this nervous, anxious energy around talking to her. And I was really psyching myself out about it and just kind of doing my inner work around how do I channel that energy in a way that um, allows the right words to come out with her. And I could tell after that call on Monday that I was awkward and areas of insecurity were popping their head. But the beauty of it was I could see them and hear them on the call and notice them and recognize them and accept them and allow them to be what they were, what they are. And at that time, I didn't need to do anything with those facts. I didn't need to feel guilty or ashamed or um, uncertain. I was able to get off the call and think, wow, I made a really, not I made a really big deal about this, but there was a lot of um, thoughtfulness I wanted to put into this call. And what I saw in that call on Monday was kind of these aspects of me that were uncertain, unsure, and go deep in myself throughout the rest of the week to wonder why that is and why I'm doubting and second guessing myself instead of showing up fully me. Then um, I had I'll mention a second conversation, a second thing in between these two bookend conversations. Last night, um, a community that I had been a part of for over a year and a half ended. And these two co-founders who started this community were really authentic, genuine sales leaders from this Thursday night sales community, um, Scott and Amy. And when I first came into the community, I didn't know anything. And I was a little bit cocky. And the way the community is set up, there's hundreds of people on a Zoom. Everybody's muted, and you can ask a question and come off mute. And so I was asking a question because I was looking for a sales role. So I was asking a question, something about sales. And the gentleman, Scott, who's one of the community leaders, he is um, a pretty, like, I guess I would describe him as a no nonsense type of a guy. He's definitely one of those guys who has graduated from the school of hard knocks, and he has put in the work to crush through limiting beliefs and other people's perspectives and come out like, this is who I am. You either like it or you don't. I've got the receipt to back up who I am. So F you if you don't want to be on my train, kind of a personality, but with such a genuine heart. And so when I came in, um, asking a question, being very loud, being very, um, maybe a little bit operating from my ego. And he really shut me down in that instance and kind of came back at me and napped at me a little bit and was like, don't interrupt me. Let me finish or I'll put you back on mute. Said something kind of gruff. And last night, as I was communicating and sharing all that both of them had meant to me and how much I've grown over the last year as a result of being in that community, I was able to articulate beautifully in that space what I had learned and how thankful I was that he did come at me that way, because it really caused me to look inside myself and find these areas where I was egotistical and I was coming in with preconceived ideas of who people were and how things would be. And I'm not like that anymore. And that's a result of immersing myself in spaces and places and looking at everyone as my teacher. I can learn something from everyone that I encounter. And so, my bookend. So, I had this conversation, just got off of it about an hour ago, with a woman who represents a venture studio. And they really are purpose driven, purpose built, and they look for humans who have interesting backgrounds, experiences, coupled with pre-idea um, tech revenue generating ideas to build with. And I got on that call. I knew who she was. We had engaged via Twitter, and I did all my research on who she was and what she had done and built. She's built and scaled and sold 5 different companies. And I just knew who I was in that conversation. And I was so confident and clear on what to say, how much to share, when to stop talking, when to listen, when to interrupt and ask questions, what things would be important. And it gave me a renewed energy and focus in 2 ways. One, and that being me and being myself fully is the way to go and to grow, and to trust that I have fully everything inside of me, that I will know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, and in what spaces and places it will be respected, honored, and received. And knowing that deeply how I feel right now, I did not feel that on Monday in my first conversation. And so my inner growth this week is palpable, and I have the evidence inside to prove it. And I am so ready to take what I've been building, what I've been learning over the entire course of my lifetime, and now start to see it come into reality in new ways. And so, thank you for being on this Build in Public journey with me. It is something that I'm really excited and thankful that I have this space to share.